Okay, as we were saying, these things, these chapters do not go in chronological order. And we had the big fulfillment, and they were carried away in 33. Okay, he was in the dungeon, and that's where the Babylonians took him up out of there. Um, Here we go back to the time where Zedekiah is still ruling. Okay, and there's some interesting things here. One, they're breaking the covenant because the every 7 years you were to let all your bondservants go. Okay, and no matter how much they'd paid off by working, it didn't matter. Every 7 years you were to let them go free, and they were breaking that, of course. And you see, that kind of thing, the pagans mock. Whenever God's people do something bad and continue to do it, the pagans have all the room they want to make fun of it and to call it names and to mock God and to mock his people. No different than having a fake pastor out here. And that's some of the damage they do. I'm sure many of you have seen when you were young or whatever, and you see these fake Christians, and they're so stupid. And now you just think Christianity's that. And it's not. It's not. Those fake preachers and people like that, that's not real Christianity at all. All right? So there's this terrible damage that gets done. As much as I love King Solomon, and I do, I love his Proverbs and all that, when he went astray as an old man, now, don't get me wrong, he came back. And the scriptures are how I'm getting that, because he wrote that book of Ecclesiastes as an old man, the preacher. Okay, so he came back to the Lord. But in the process, by building the pagan temples there, and when he went astray, now the occultists grabbed King Solomon. And they say, well, this six-sided star, this is the Star of David, and Solomon this and Solomon that. He had the Tadmor Temple, 666. Listen, all that gave the pagans ammunition. And now, today, they grab things like that, like what Solomon did when he was astray, and they say, look here, let's combine the occult with God's doctrine here. Or look here, see, this is the real doctrine, this paganism where King Solomon went astray. And that's very disgusting, that Solomon did that. But, again, I love his writings. Nowhere in the scripture does it say he was damned. Nowhere. Okay, because he came back as an old man. Now, I'm happy about that. But that going astray has given the occultists, like Manly P. Hall, Madame Blavatsky, and so forth and so on, room to mock God's doctrine here with the paganism that he had, that temple to Ashtaroth, Malcolm, and all that he did. That really gives them the ammunition they need. And it's the same here with this not letting your servants go and breaking the commandments of God. So we're going to get into that here. And remember these things, again, Zedekiah was cast down in 33 already, and here he is. He's ruling here at this time when this one was given. So here we are in chapter 34 in Jeremiah. It says, Jeremiah prophesieth the captivity of Zedekiah and the city, the princes and the people, having dismissed their bondservants, contrary to the covenant of God. They take them back, see. 12, Jeremiah, for their disobedience, giveth them and Zedekiah into the hands of their enemies. Okay, so here we go in verse 1 in chapter 34 in the prophet Jeremiah. In verse 1 it says, the word which came unto Jeremiah from the Lord, when Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army, and all the kingdoms of the earth, of his dominion, and all the people fought against Jerusalem and against all the cities thereof, saying, Thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, Go and speak to Zedekiah, king of Judah, and tell him, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall burn it with fire. And thou shalt not escape out of his hand, but shall surely be taken and delivered into his hand, and thine eyes shall behold the eyes of the king of Babylon, and he shall speak with thee mouth to mouth, and thou shalt go to Babylon. In 4 it says, Yet hear the word of the Lord, O Zedekiah, king of Judah, thus saith the Lord of thee, Thou shalt not die by the sword, but thou shalt die in peace, and with the burnings of thy fathers, the former kings, which were before thee. So shall they burn odors for thee, and they shall lament thee, saying, Ah, Lord, for I have pronounced the word, saith the Lord. So you live by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. And here the prophecy is clear. All right, as it goes on in 6, it says, Then Jeremiah the prophet, capital P, spake all these words unto Zedekiah, king of Judah, in Jerusalem, when the king of Babylon's army fought against Jerusalem, and against all the cities of Judah that were left, against Lachish, and against Azekah, for these defense cities remained of the cities of Judah. In 6, we have another paragraph. In 8. In 8, a new paragraph. This is the word that came unto Jeremiah from the Lord after that the king of Zedekiah had made a covenant with all the people which were at Jerusalem to proclaim liberty unto them. In 9 it says that every man should let his manservant and every man his maidservant, being a Hebrew or an Hebrewess, go free, that none should serve himself of them, to wit, of a Jew his brother. In 10 it says, Now when all the princes and all the people which had entered into the covenant heard that every one should let his manservant and everyone his maidservant go free, that none should serve themselves of them any more, then they obeyed and let them go. All right, that sounds good, right? Wrong. Listen to 11. But afterwards they turned and caused the servants and the handmaids whom they had let go free to return, and brought them into subjection for servants and for handmaids. Okay? So they had this problem, okay? They did not want to let their bondservants go, and this isn't the only place they had problems with this. All right, in a new paragraph in 12, it says, Therefore the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, I made a covenant with your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondmen, saying, At the end of 7 years let ye go every man his brother, an Hebrew, which hath been sold unto thee, and when he hath served thee 6 years, thou shalt let him go free from thee. But your fathers hearkened not unto me, neither inclined their ear. Okay, so see how this is a problem. They're sending you right back to Exodus 21 and Deuteronomy 15:12. 15, and ye were now turned and had done right in my sight in proclaiming liberty every man to his neighbor. And ye had made a covenant before me in the house, which is called by my name. So they did it right under the guidance of the house of the Lord here. But what did they do? In 16, but ye turned and polluted my name, and caused every man his servant and every man his handmaid, whom ye had set at liberty at their pleasure, to return, and brought them into subjection to be unto you for servants and for handmaids. And I've heard people mock about this. See, this is what I'm saying. I've heard the criticism, see. The cultists get in here and they look for anything they can do to mock God. And if you're God's servant, you see, you got to set a good example for everybody. All right? Anyway, in 17 it says, therefore thus saith the Lord, ye have not hearkened unto me in proclaiming liberty every one to his brother, and every man to his neighbor. Behold, I proclaim a liberty for you, saith the Lord, to the sword, to the pestilence, and to the famine. And I will make you to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. So there you go. See, they make a vow to the Lord and they don't keep it. How stupid is that? 18, and I will give the men that have transgressed my covenant, which have not performed the words of the covenant which they had made before me, when they cut the calf in twain and passed between the parts thereof. Okay, so there was a ceremony done there, and we can go right back to the history book and see where this is done. Okay, so this was verifying this covenant with the Lord here. Okay, so in 19, it says, the princes of Judah and the princes of Jerusalem, the eunuchs and the priests and all the people of the land which passed between the parts of the calf, I will even give them into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of them that seek their life. And their dead bodies shall be for meat unto the fowls of heaven and to the beasts of the earth. Okay? So this is their casting down. And it's just amazing that you would do this and make a covenant with the Lord and then just turn and rend that covenant. 21, it says, and Zedekiah, king of Judah, and his princes will I give into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of them that seek their life, and into the hand of the king of Babylon's army, which are gone up from you. See, they backed up here. See? It's as soon as the army backs up, they break the covenant. 22, behold, I will command, saith the Lord, and cause them to return to this city, and they shall fight against it, and take it, and burn it with fire, and I will make the cities of Judah a desolation without an inhabitant. So you see, they had the chance to do right in his sight, okay? And worse yet, when they did right, they didn't continue doing right. Okay, so you're backbiting the Lord. Here he actually made this army to back up. And as soon as you're out from under the gun, or the sword, might I say here, you turn and backstab the Lord. It's amazing to me to watch this happen. And that's another reason for the afflictions that we're getting today. We're getting afflicted today, and it's going to try the saints and make them, they're going to be refined as silver. Okay, but a lot of this hell that's on earth is because of the sin that's on earth here. We've been over that, the things that you cannot do. And we continue to do those to this very day, even under the terrible affliction that we're under. The brainwashed individuals are still in their occult religions. They're still practicing their sorcery, their witchcraft. They're still doing their abortions. They're still having their homosexual activities and teaching the kids to do that, teaching the kids evil, teaching and preaching the Darwinian satanic Galton Darwin theory against God. So no, this is what happens, and here is the judgment that's going to occur, and it's a sure word of God here. So I'll see everybody there in 35. Bye-bye.